Along with Dr. Dennis Grega, who is also on Zoom today, I am the co-creator of AfterlifeData.com, VoicesAcrossTheVeil.com, and AfterlifeLibrary.com. Dr. Dennis Grega is a research psychologist and has combined his training with computer technology to develop numerous software applications over the past 30 years, and he is also a writer and a teacher. On the Voices Across the Veil platform, we have been conducting mediumship research for the last 5 years. We are now expanding that research to 3 new studies that we'd like to tell you about. So I will try and make one of them fairly short because, we could go on for an hour probably about each one, but I don't want to take up everybody's time with that. But we're more than happy to answer any questions afterwards. So we're planning on having experienced channelers coming on for 60 to 90 minutes for a larger audience. And we will pose questions to each one of the channelers about the afterlife and life on Earth. The goals of the study are threefold. First, to explore high-level information about the nature of reality. The second, to compare information we obtain to information received through historic channeled material. And also third, to understand how this information can be used by individuals to help expand consciousness, critically evaluate their belief systems, and of course, empower them in their daily lives. So I'm going to turn it over a little bit to Dennis so that he can add to that overview.
Okay, first I'm going to define channeling. It's a common definition. Channeling is the reproduction by words or sounds of concepts that are not generated within one's own conscious mind, but are transmitted from the subconscious mind or through the subconscious mind into the conscious mind from an impersonal or non-physical entity or principle. Some famous channelers of the past and present are like Jane Roberts channeling the Seth entity. She channeled Seth for like over 20 years. Maurice Barbanel channeled Silver Birch for, 40 or 50 years. And also a current one is Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar. What we're going to do is we're going to develop specific topic question sets for each session. These may deal with reincarnation, the purpose of physical reality, time and space, other non-physical planes of existence, illness and disease, death experience, a whole slew of topics. And what we're going to do is develop specific question sets that we will ask of the channeled entity. And some of these may go for multiple sessions because we may not be able to cover all the material in one session, and we'll continue it into the next. But the idea here is to get as much information, as deep of information as we can through entities that are not physically incarnated, that are living in the non-physical, that are on conceivably higher planes of existence so that they can give us more information and help relate those existences with what we experience here, as well as basically to give us, why are we here? What is the purpose of physical incarnation? What are we supposed to do? But anyway, the idea here is to, over time, gather this information, compare it with historic works, and see how consistent it is, much like what we do already on Afterlife Data. Our first channeler is going to be Laurel Mendelsohn, who channels a group entity called the Ones. They've gone under different names with other channelers, but they actually came in on a Voices Across the Veil session a few months ago and went around to each sitter in the session and actually gave them information regarding their life plans. And then they also spoke to us about this pending project and said that they were willing to participate. And so they are going to be the first channeled entity on Voices Across the Veil. We're also looking for other channelers so that if you know of others, we would like to explore and test them. We are looking for channelers that do have access with higher entities because there are channeling can occur even through entities on a much lower plane that have less knowledge. And we're looking for those that have greater knowledge than what we experience here on Earth. So if you know of any, please write to me or Michelle and let us know.
Dr. Hogan, the president of AREI, the Afterlife Research and Education Institute, is working with us on this project. He is an afterlife researcher, writer, and university professor, and has written many books and articles on the afterlife. Among these are Your Eternal Self, Induced After-Death Communication, and Applying the Science of the Afterlife. We've been working with him on the research design, protocols, and statistical analyses over the last several months. And I'm going to let Dennis give you a little bit more information, but we're not going to get too deeply into it because we are still in the process of just ironing out all of the information that we need for that. So Dennis, take it away.
We're hoping to build and extend the Canyon Ranch experiments by Dr. Gary Schwartz that were reported in his book, The Afterlife Experiments, in the Journal of the Society of Psychical Research, as well as the cross-correspondences investigations conducted by the British Society of Psychical Research between the years of 1901 and 1932. To learn more about these investigations by the British Society of Psychical Research, I highly recommend Victor and Wendy's book because there's a whole chapter that reviews a lot of the evidence for those investigations. Another great source is Chris Carter's Science in the Afterlife Experience, where he devotes 2 chapters to some of the cross-correspondences' most significant findings. Basically, the cross-correspondence information is one of the strongest pieces of evidence ever obtained for life after death. Basically, it was a series of messages to different mediums in different parts of the world that on their own meant nothing. The information came through automatic writing, and when these were pieced together, they made sense. They basically were the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle or a crossword puzzle that alone meant nothing, but when put together, created a theme or sent a message. Through these 30 years, there were some 3,000 scripts were transmitted, filling 24 volumes and 12,000 pages of information. Our studies, well, and a lot of this information was based on obscure classical subjects. Our subjects or our studies are not going to deal with obscure classical subjects, but what we're hoping to do is to receive accurate information from the same spirit across different communication methods. And in study 1, we're going to be comparing mental mediumship and channeling. If this proves successful, then other methods of after-death communication will be included. Things like ITC, EVP, other after-death communication, self-guided afterlife connections, and so forth will also then be included in subsequent studies. And also, if this proves successful, it'll be also one of the strongest pieces of evidence for life after death because it will imply that intelligences from the other side are coordinating and prearranging the appearance of these spirits with the information at these different mediumistic and channeling sessions. And at this point in time, we've actually got a subject pool. There's been 3 subjects that have already been randomly drawn. And as a matter of fact, the deceased people that will be appearing have been randomly drawn. So no one knows who they are yet until the sessions start. We're hoping that this validation will add on to previous research, and it's going to start in November. That's it.
Wow, you guys are really busy.
Yeah, we are.